it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Want to hear a story? I think it was 80, might have been 81. I was headed to my very first long-haul trucking job. And I had to take a bus from Shreveport to Fort Scott, Kansas. And I'm going to tell you the name of the company, and if you're my age or older, you might remember them. They called them the Dollar Down trucks. And it was Midwestern Distribution. And what they did was cheat drivers. It was a scam. But back then, the only way to get into trucking was to let yourself be scammed, used, and abused. And then you could find a good job after that. You needed about 6 months of over-the-road experience before you could get a real job. So anyway, I took the Express Greyhound bus. And I was broke. I had a brand new baby. My first wife was at home, didn't work. So I had no money. And I was hoping that I could get in the truck and get my... Back then, I don't know if they do it anymore. When you're a company driver, they gave you a per diem, a daily per diem. And I think it was like 20 or 25 bucks back then, a day. And you could get it on your fuel card. And basically, it was in advance, and they weren't giving you anything. Had a mosquito trying to get on me. So, got on this bus in Shreveport. It's about 460 miles from Shreveport up to Fort Scott, Kansas. You could drive it in about 7.5 hours. It took 3 days on that Greyhound bus, 3 days, to get 460 miles on the express bus. That bus stopped at every little hole in the wall, and it did the most zigzaggy, unreasonably, ridiculously out-of-the-way route to get to Fort Scott, Kansas. And it was just... and some of the drivers were the most unskilled, dangerous drivers. And then on top of that, I was starving. And I was sitting next to another guy who was just as poor as me, but he had brought some fried chicken, wrapped up in tinfoil. And he gave me a piece of it. And right away, I had it coming out both ends. So I was broke, pooping, throwing up, late for the first day of orientation, because the bus that should have been there that evening took 3 days to get there. And I finally get there. They put me in a motel room. And it's still a couple of days before I get any money. So I have no money. I haven't eaten in 2 days, and everything that I did eat had come out of my stomach. Or, one way or the other, it came out. And then orientation starts. And my stomach is rumbling. Everybody in orientation can hear my stomach rumbling. The good old days. When I first got into trucking, it was an extremely hard life. There was no power steering. There was no air ride seats. Well, there was, but only the rich companies. And the owner-operators had that kind of stuff. Anyway, drinking my coffee. Last cup, and then I'm going to the shop. Okay. I am going to work on this. I think I can get this up to heat treating and tempering in a few more hours. And right now I'm figuring how I'm going to sand out this fuller. Well, I have this, there's a knife maker called Trollski, and I think he's in Poland. He was on Forged in Fire, and he actually came to America and went to the Atlanta Blade Show just recently. Anyway, he was on his YouTube channel, Trollski, Trollsky. None of his videos are in English, but he speaks English very well. Anyway, these are what he suggested to get up right in the very edge of the plunge line. Sometimes it's really, really hard to get the grind lines out. So I have several things that I use to get the grind lines out. And I did use these for a little while, which is why one end is tapered like that. But I think I could round the edge of this off or break it to about that length, put it on my belt grinder and round it off and get it in here and clean that fuller up. So that's next. Actually, this is next. And then I'm going to work on that. This, there's a lady, believe it or not, who works at the post office. She's the nice lady, not the one that gave me a whole bunch of crap a few years ago about deciding she didn't want to deliver my mail here anymore. I still think about that. And you know, when I go in there now, that lady that caused all that trouble, for 2 or 3 years after that happened, it was obvious that she hated my guts because I did something. I beat government, or I won, I guess you'd say. I don't know how to describe it. But she was pretty convinced that I had no recourse. And I found the right ear. And she, with her hat in her hand. Anyway. But lately, she's been actually nice to me. And, you know, it's kind of nice. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. And it seems like she's not fake nice. It seems like she's being genuinely nice to me now. And there's another lady that works there. She's always been nice to me. And anyway, her husband is a hunter. And she wants to buy a knife for her husband. And I told her the price, which was way, way less than what I usually get for these. And she was interested. So I'm going to make it, send her a picture, and if she wants it, sell it to her. If not, I'll offer it for sale. But I'm fixing to get to work on that right now. Any minute now. Here we go. Okay, I just wanted to see if it was doable before I get started on the other knife. This knife. And it is. So, all right. Okay, now I'm going to get started on that. Okay, I'm at 320. I'm going up to 400. So I thought, since I was at 320 already, why not go ahead and sand that up? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. Boy, oh boy. Brand new off the factory, it wasn't this shiny and clean. Okay, and I've already got that ready. I sanded out some nicks. I mean, I'll give it one final buff when it's on the knife. It's really hard to do off the knife because it's hard to hold on to and it gets really hot. So, now all I got to do is, I'm going to take some, well, probably my little files and clean that up, especially that. See all the ridges, and this was never polished or anything like that. So, and I looked at pictures of other knives like this style, this brand of knife, and they all have that downturned thing there. So that's supposed to be there. So I'm moving up to 400. And before you know it, 400 and then 600. And the final grit is 600, and it'll go into the heat treating oven. And then I will go home and put a third coat of True Oil on the handle. It's gonna look great. I'll have this done today too. And this in the tempering oven before the day is out. So tomorrow, I'll be putting handles on it. These handles here. All right, here we go. Back to work, everybody. Break time's over. Okay, I just couldn't help myself. I had to finish it. And that's 3 coats of True Oil on the handle. It is definitely walnut. And that is F.A. Bauer IMP Implement Company out of Solingen, Germany. And this was imported by an American company from Germany. This is model 50/52 Ara. And we're all pretty. And that is what I would call a bird and trout knife. I have another one here, right here. Who is that? I think that's a case. Yeah. Okay. Last one. Actually, no. I've got 1 or 2 coming. I have a hatchet coming, and perhaps another knife like this that I have bid on. I don't know if I'll get it or not, but it's actually a little longer. And if I can get it, I'm gonna actually pair that with the hatchet, because this is kind of a smaller knife. And I need to do some more work on that blade. I don't know where them deep scratches come from. All I did was sand it a little bit and buff it. And these are some deep scratches from some kind of heavy, low grit, like 60, 80 grit sandpaper. I can get them out. I just didn't realize they were there till after I buffed it. So I'm gonna do a little more work on that. There we go. This one's sold. Okay, let me cover them up. Keep the dust off of them. Now, I'm going to go back and finish this. 400, 600 heat treat and temper. And I may have it in the tempering oven before the day's out. I'm not gonna work too hard today. I'm waiting on a tail light to show up for my pickup. Many years ago, I did something stupid. Back in 2020 when it was brand new, 2 things happened. I had a dump truck coming at me, and he hit a bump and showered me with gravel, busted my windshield. And then 2 years after that, I had an 18-wheeler pass me that had them crushed junk cars on it. And as it passed me, a hood blew up on one of them, and something come blowing out from underneath it and smashed me in the windshield. So I got a crack going down on the left, and then a crack going down right in the middle towards the right. And I got to get my truck inspected. I was getting it inspected here locally, and they would pass me just because they're local, and they're not going to make somebody spend $1,000 on a windshield when they'd have it get busted again. But I may have to replace it before I can get it inspected again. And the reason I don't replace it is because this is oil field country, and you're always going to have a busted windshield, because trucks come off these old dirt oil field roads and get on the highway. And, you're just going to get a busted windshield. So I may have to replace that, but I'm going to replace the tail light. It'll show up today, and I may include that. So all right, let me get to work on this. This time, no deviations. I have nothing else to work on. I do have a dog to pet, but here we go. Oh, they want to speak to me about my car's warranty. All right, so we are up to 600. Let's move it over here. 600. And we're fixing to go pop it in the forge, heat treat it, pop it in the old tempering oven, temper it, and then we're gonna go up. We're gonna walk the 7 miles up to my mailbox, uphill both ways, and in snow, by the way, 2 feet of snow. And I'm gonna get my tail light. I'm gonna open it up, and we'll all look at it to be sure, because I bought a used one from a junkyard, and I think it was in New Jersey. So we'll look at it, make sure it's, you know, in decent shape. All right. You don't have to watch this. You've seen this a million times. So when I get this heat treated and in the tempering oven, I'll go up there and we'll see that box, see the tail light. Well, it appears to be in good shape. So here's the old one, and what had happened was I had hauled a trailer home, and when I got home, I forgot I had a trailer behind me, and I went to back up and I jackknifed the trailer. First time in my life I've ever done that, and poked a hole here. So I've had tape on it ever since it was nearly new. What we got is two number 8mm bolts. I believe that's all I got to do, and pop it out. I think it's going to have some of these on there, so that may take a little pulling to get it out. So we'll see in a minute. We'll get them two bolts out of there first. Yep, that was it. So you got to undo this. I'm turning that and pulling it out. I'm going to use these same bulbs. I got to figure out, oh, okay, let me get that undone. It's a zip tie, so, oh, there we go. It just slides in there. I'm going to pull that out. I'll need two hands. All right, got all the new stuff in. Now I got to line these holes up with that and that. Push it in, and then put them two bolts back here. This is a knife that I sold about a year ago, and the guy used it, and I didn't like the finish, and I gave him a cut on the price, and it was the stonewash finished, and I'm just not a fan of that finish, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And the guy who bought it decided he doesn't like it either, so I'm gonna put a nice satin finish on this knife. Got to get it off this side, or did I? Okay, this side. I need to sand this a little bit more, and then off of the back, and then I'm gonna buff it. It's not gonna be a mirror polish, but I'm gonna buff it as shiny as I can get it, and then come back with some 600 and give it a nice satin finish. For nothing, because I didn't like the finish either. Well, it's not perfect. This knife had some carbon burn off, but it's better than that stonewash finish. Alrighty, now this fella here, he uses this knife. He sent me a picture of this knife, and it had cut the head off a hog, and I don't know if he skinned it or not, but anyway, so this is a using knife, and it's got a heck of an edge on it. I thought it was my edge, but he has put an edge on it. So I was going to sharpen it, but it's so sharp I'm not going to touch it. I can't improve on that. Alrighty, so now I'm going to clean this up and get these handles epoxied and pinned before the day is out. So tomorrow I can come out and shape these handles and make a knife. Well, I was going to put this on today, these handles on today, but you know what? I just don't feel like it. I'm going to come out here in the morning, clean this up. I am having trouble with my hands because I've been sanding so much, and this thumb is starting to hurt for the first time in a very, very long time. I had surgery on this thumb, so I'm just going to knock it off for today. This is my personal knife. Oh, it's my box cutter. You know, it's what I open boxes with up at the house. And I got to re-sharpen it. You know, cardboard is very hard on a knife. Anyway, this is a nice little knife. I'm glad I kept it. I was going to sell it, but anyway, I'm going to the house. Well, I'll show you that taillight in. I neglected to show that, so as I'm walking by, I'll show the taillight installed. There you go. There's going to be a second video coming out today, Saturday. So get some coffee. Have a good one.